Gosh, you'd think I'd never done this before. Good evening, everyone. I forgot to unmute myself. I hope everyone is doing good. Good evening. It's Wednesday night. It is time for another episode of Minor League Fights and Insights. I'm happy to have you here. It is great to see you here. Whether you're tuning in live or tuning in after the fact, really great to see the support we have and the community grow. I'm here. It's episode number 5, series 2, leading up. It's Friday. Friday is the day that we have been waiting for months now. Friday's big kickoff for week 1. I'm here, joined with me. I've got a quorum of a gaggle of people. As always, we've got Daniel Wright. Good evening, Daniel.
How you doing, everyone? Tulsa, we did it. We made the playoffs.
Excellent. Good job. Derek, good evening to you.
Yeah, we made the playoffs too, Daniel.
Yeah, but this is the first time in 3 years that Tulsa has made it.
And we have Johnny Reno joining us. Good evening, Johnny.
Good evening. Hey, everybody. Congrats to you guys for making the playoffs. Awesome.
And John Fowler, how are you tonight?
Good. How are you guys doing? You guys staying happy and positive?
Always. So we've got a great show for you all tonight. We've got the 4 games coming up. We will definitely get to those later, taking a look at all of the different matchups and how each team might stack up. But before that, we have the one, the only head coach of the Lincoln Rattlesnakes. We've got Mike Ahl in the building. Good evening, Mike. How are you tonight?
Hey, guys. How's it going? I'm happy to be here. I like contributing however I can.
Excellent. We know you love chips. I know and a variety of different things.
Yes, sir, I do. And, different locations in my house is always fun, too.
Yep. So, Mike, we've got you here because we wanted to find out a little bit more about, first, the Lincoln Rattlesnakes, but also a little bit more about sort of the head coaching sort of perspective on things. What does it take to get to prepare for week 1 and things like that. But wondering if you could just tell us a little bit about the Lincoln Rattlesnakes, maybe the history of the team or, the team that you've got right now.
Sure. Well, let's start with Lincoln. They were a season 1 minor league team. One of our esteemed panelists here was actually on that team at the start, but found greener pastures doing something else. And so he opened up a spot, which fortunately I was lucky enough to get onto and get myself onto a team in the first season of the minor leagues. I started out just as a fan watching and ended up getting to be a player and watching myself all of a sudden be out on the field. But yeah, they were a team from the start and had a lot of great players on there. There's 2 two-time champs on there with Nate Brown and Ben Stack and Paper, who are over in Baltimore. Brian Dynasty was one of the quarterbacks. JQ was also one of the quarterbacks. He lasted a little bit longer in the minors than did some of us. We also had Luther Gond as our running back, but due to the way the draft was set up that season, Luther Gond switched over to defensive tackle and has had a great run as a defensive tackle. He's one of the top defensive tackles in the league, I'd say. Chris Porter was the other defensive end on the team with myself and with John over there before he left. And Chris Porter has had a good career with Atlanta. He's come back to be the defensive coordinator with us, which is what he did when he was a minor league player with us in Lincoln. So I'm glad to have him back. Back in the day, Brian Dynasty was also our offensive coordinator, which now is Tyler Falk. He is our offensive coordinator over there. Nate Brown has come back to be a scout for us. Cliff Allen was our kicker. And he's obviously done a lot of good things in Arizona as social media and director of communications guy over there. And he's come over to do that for us in Lincoln as well this season. So we've got a lot of old faithful Lincoln players to come back to help out and help guide these minor league players to what we assume is going to be a championship. Because I mean, how could it not be? And just bring some glory back to Lincoln after having been gone for so long.
Yeah.
So we're real.
I was going to say,
happy to have them back.
I was going to say, it sounds, you're just describing, there's a legacy with the Rattlesnakes that, for those that might have only been around for a year or so, like myself, that legacy predates myself in the minor leagues. But it's exciting to see that these minor league players that are currently on your team could be those next players. Come a year, 2 years from now.
Oh yeah, most certainly. We've got some great players on the team, and I'm really excited about this team. Obviously, most of the roster came from the old Salt Lake City team, which Ross Napoli was the head coach of, and became part owner of Louisiana, and so had to step down at the end of the season as the head coach. And he came to me and said, "Look, I really want you to be the guy to take this over," and so I agreed. And first thing I did was ask Rastelli, "Hey, can I bring Lincoln back, man? We got to bring the Rattlesnakes back." And so they said that was completely cool. So that's how we got Lincoln back in the fold this season, um, and have now added some new awesome players to the Lincoln Rattlesnakes legacy. Guys like Kenny Slider and Logan Lee. And we got Frankie Custer, and his daughter is also on the team, Frankie Lynn Custer. So now it's a family affair.
And Skippy
We-
too, right? The female pair, right?
Yeah, Skippy is one of my favorites. We met at the convention last year, and she's an awesome gal, and we can now officially say we're the only team, whether it be the minors or the pros, that have two starting cornerbacks that are both females in the league. Which is nice to be able to say, because you don't get that chance very often. And Salt Lake City had that legacy with having Brooke Beisel as the starting running back, Kelsey Brown as a receiver, and Lauren Percoco as a tight end. Like, we've had some really great female players come through both organizations now, and I'm proud to be the coach of the team that has this as their legacy. It's an exciting roster, and I'm really looking forward to see what they do on the field this season.
Yeah, I'm in myself. I find it super. I love the fact that it's gender neutral, that this league, and I've been excited when I was building out the generic rosters for the preseason games, because I didn't have those from last year, what we were going to be using. So I was making sure to put in names like female names, that this is a very gender neutral, very inclusive league, and I'm really excited about that.
Oh yeah, that's big for here. It's inclusive of everybody, whether it's guys or gals or
Various
people.
abilities, yeah.
Yeah, people of various abilities and ages. That we can all come in and live out the dream of being the superstar athlete on the field.
I love it. You mentioned your coaches already a little bit. What is it like being a head coach? What is that role like? Because I have experience doing offensive coordinating. There's a lot of simming. You're looking through and pouring through scouting reports and other things. What is it like being a head coach? What is that role like?
So you got to definitely work closely with the coordinators and make sure everything's running smoothly. And I've given full reign of their side of the playbook to each of my coordinators because I have full faith in them and trust them and want them to learn and grow in their position. And so I'm there to answer questions and make sure that the playbooks look good and are submitted properly. Because if you submit it with playbook errors, then that's going to cause an issue, and then Rastelli yells at you, and it makes me cry, and I don't like to cry. And so you really got to find that balance of uh, letting the guys have their head, but also reining them in a little bit if need be. But fortunately for me, I've got some very talented coordinators. Uh, I shouldn't have to worry too much about trying to rein them in or catching mistakes. I believe that these guys are going to do a great job, and so I get to work on the scouting reports for them and make sure that we know what we're game planning against, and definitely advise where advice is needed. And fortunately for me, I happen to be in one of those rare seats where I also have a former and possibly soon to be future head coach on the staff that has a little bit more experience than myself and my coordinators, that can also give advice because he's been through the ringer of doing all of this week in and week out and simming for hours on end each week. So it's nice to have Mike Twinscrew on my roster to help guide me when I have questions, being new to this position as well.
Sure. Tell me, what is it like prepping or leading up to week one? Like, what has it been like? We most recently got the portal. That's been a big change, and the ability to then, I think a week or two later was being able to download or export the teams and other things. Like, what has it been like for you or for your team itself leading up to week one?
Oh yeah, that's been a learning experience for myself with the roster file, um, and there were a couple of glitches that were straightened out. Um, I guess there was one where that was causing players to have elephant faces.
I
I
I,
didn't.
I experienced that as well.
Yeah, that's weird. I was not expecting that, but um, yeah. So then now that everything's straightened out, it's made things much easier, and um, with not knowing what we're facing, it makes it for a real crapshoot. You don't know what's coming at you, so you don't know what to put up against it. So you're basically just uh, throwing darts at a board and hoping you stick in the right scoring spot, right?
Yeah, and that week
Um,
one is always tough.
yeah, and I mean, fortunately, we've got some real quality, experienced players coming back, um, which will help out a lot. We have an amazingly full defensive backfield, which will help a lot with uh, some of these receivers that are coming back down to play on their two-way contracts. Um, and I have full faith in my rest of my defense to be able to stop guys like Randy Squarebush and their monster contracts, coming back down to run roughshod all over everybody in this minors league this season.
We're facing Annapolis right away, so I get that little concern or trepidation. Daniel, do you have any questions for Mike at all?
Well, yeah, sure. Mike, big fan. Hope you win. Some of us here are rooting for you, so let's go as
I appreciate
Rattlesnakes.
that. Yes, sir.
So as we all know, the minor leagues can be kind of like a storm. I would like to say people come and go because this is where they test their water, so to speak, before they make it to the big leagues. What kind of motivation do you do as a head coach? Are you in the trenches in the locker room, talking with them, getting them up, getting ready for game day to keep them, kind of involved?
Yeah, so it's going to kind of go back to how I was as a minor league player. Like, I didn't know what to expect as a minor league player. I wasn't in a locker room until a couple weeks in, and I came in and I was all gung ho and trying to encourage my fellow players. And I intend to keep that tradition going now as the head coach. Um, we have a fun locker room. We have guys that like to talk. We have people that are coming out and trying to help the new players, even though they're still new players, trying to help out. Like Matthias, he's out there and trying to give guys advice on what to do, having just gotten here, and he's super positive, and it's great to have that in the locker room. Skippy Curtis, she's come in and she's been a ball of fun since she's gotten there. And experienced guys like Frankie Custer and his daughter, they have a lot to say. They're always interesting to have in the locker room when they pop in, but they're not always available because real life is real life, and we have to pay attention to that first, don't we?
We do.
But yeah, it's all about making sure that these guys and gals are on the right track and are enjoying this. Because if you're not here and having fun, what's the point of being here? Um, but making sure everybody's headed in the right direction, working together as a team, and eventually, I want to see all of my players get drafted and have successful careers in the pros.
Awesome.
Excellent, excellent. And I can speak on behalf of my experience. The minor leagues is where I cut my teeth and where I made the most connections starting off, and what really invested me to stick into it. So, minor leaguers, this is the best way to do it. Derek, did you have any questions?
I'm gonna put Mike on the spot here. You said you were planning on winning it all. Which team do you think is your biggest competition this year?
Everybody's my biggest competition. I can't treat anybody lightly, especially coming into week one. Don't know how everybody's working out, but everybody's going to be my number one rival to start out. Now I'm looking to have a fun rivalry with Albuquerque. Um, Swole and I, we're first time head coaches, and we're looking to have a good time. And the fact that Salt Lake City was the one that shut down their undefeated streak and beat them in the playoffs to win Salt Lake City's championship in season 3, that definitely adds more encouragement to me. I hope so to him as well. But if I'm gonna have the most fun, it's probably gonna be with Albuquerque. But I want to beat everybody, and I can't take anybody lately.
Cool. Johnny, do you have any questions for Mike?
Hey, Mike, big fan as well, man. Good to see you. I really don't. The couple questions I had, I think Daniel and Derek nailed it. But man, glad to have you on. John, you have any questions? I really don't.
No, man. I'm just happy to see Mike actually doing amazing. Keep up the good work, man.
Yeah.
Truly.
Let me just say, one more time, and obviously I've said it in the past, but thank you for going back to the pros, man. You made all the difference in the world for me.
No worries, man. Anytime, bro.
So, Mike, curious. I just have one final question. If there's anything that you'd want minor league players to remember, or like to be like, this is a really important thing, make sure you don't forget this. Is there any type of last words for them for things to remember?
I mean, certainly make a name for yourself, and I don't know or care how much time you have. Obviously, Johnny was busy with his job, his first season, so he wasn't always around all the time. But definitely, when you have a chance, just pop in. Just start a little conversation, whatever time you have, a couple minutes. Just say, "Hey guys, how's it going? Just checking in or whatever." Just make yourself known. Make it so that everybody sees you. Because general managers such as myself, I'm always watching the chat to see and get a feel for how everybody is and how everybody interacts with everybody else. Because when I'm picking a player to pick in the draft, I'm basing it on who you are, not who your player is on the field. Because builds can be adjusted, they can be progressed, they can be fixed. The people behind the player is what matters because those are the people that I'm hanging out with in the locker room, and I want good people in my locker room. So make sure that people know who you are. That's the most important thing for getting into the pros.
Awesome. Sage advice. Daniel and I, similar things. That's, I think, what helped us so much is just getting out there and even if it's like poking. I was going to say poking the bear, but we were the bear poking other things. From the Tacoma side of things.
Tacoma, yeah.
Yeah. Just getting out there. Having some fun rivalries, but also making sure you're conversing with even if it's just like adding something in, jumping into the regular pro general chat. I wouldn't even say pro general chat. It is the SFL general chat. It's your home, minor league players' home as much as the minor league gen chat is too. So don't be afraid. Nobody's gonna bite. And if anybody wants to have a conversation with me, just hit me up or ping me on there, and we can do it up. Mike, any final words at all before we say goodnight?
Well, I mean, obviously, it didn't hurt you and Daniel to be so pretty too. That helped you guys get drafted. But yeah, everybody just come on out and watch all these games, all these week 1 games, and enjoy every bit of it. Because for some of us, the minors may last a little while, Johnny. But for some of us, the minors only last one season, one short little enjoyable season. Get out there and enjoy every moment of it, and make as many friends as you can. Because I love all the friends I made in my time in the minors, and still are friends with them to this day, and have made some real life connections with some of those guys. Um, that's what this is all about. Just having fun, making friends, and getting to experience something that in real life some of us either weren't capable of or were too lazy to accomplish. uh, so yeah, get out there and have a good time, everybody.
All right. Well, thank you, Mike, so much for joining us and giving a little bit of words of wisdom and letting us peer behind the curtain a little bit on Lincoln and head coaching.
Yes, sir. Anytime you want me back, I'll definitely jump in.
Sounds good. All right. Good night.
See you later,
Yes.
Mike.
See you, everybody.
Later, Mike.
All right. So we've got Mike all checked off. Great. I love the guy. Been conversing with him almost like a year ago. I think we first started chatting via DM and things.
Oh, he's an amazing guy. He DM'd me almost every week when I was sick, so nothing but a heart of gold on him.
Absolutely. So, but we've got 4 games to start to think about coming up in what? I don't know, 48 hours, I think. Because tomorrow, 24 hours will be Thursday night. Then Friday night is 48 hours. So 48 hours away we are from the big week 1 kickoff. So I've got 4 little sheets here, 4 little graphics that we're going to go through to illustrate the matchups tonight. In honor of Mike, we're going to have Lincoln go first. So Lincoln is matching up against Ottawa. So here we see sort of their side by side of who they are. They're different. Their players. They have the different roles. Their different values. We've seen a little bit of what they can do on the field during the preseason games, but obviously that is taken with a lot of many grains of salt. But yeah, I know you've been a big fan, Dan. You've been sort of hyping up Lincoln since we first sort of reviewed them, and even during their preseason game, there was a lot to I guess write home to mom about for like the likes of like Logan Lee. I believe he was a good standout running back during that game.
Oh yeah, definitely. They're my horse in the race, so to speak. But I like to look at this right now and look at the roster differences. Like Lincoln has a stacked team, right? They have a full host of people. Kenny Sliders coming back versus Jive coming back. That's going to equal out a little bit. I like Logan Lee though. Logan Lee is definitely going to be a player to watch in this league. And of course, you can't deny Frankie Custer, who should have been drafted last season. And I don't know how he got missed.
I'm just counting these right now. I want to say Lincoln might have close to 18. I lost count after I get up to around 10, and I'm like, it just blurs together in my brain a little bit. So to prepare this, I was going back to last year's graphics that we had in, I think, week 3 or so when I was doing some side to side for some minor league games. And I think one team had 11 players, the other team had 11 players as well. But Lincoln has 18, and even on Ottawa, looking a little bit smaller than Lincoln, still has around like the 15 mark, which it just
16.
blows my mind. 16? That
Yep.
just blows my mind. I mean, they are literally like almost, the 23 roster that the pros have.
Yeah, they're almost full pro teams. I remember when we were in the league and we had like 10 people that we were cheering for. It's amazing what the time has changed, and in short amount of time too. It's only been like a year and a half.
Derek, curious on your thoughts on this matchup between these two teams.
Well, I looking at it, I think it looks like a pretty good matchup here. I mean, the biggest thing that stands out is we'll see how much it's going to help Lincoln to have 2 extra players, and the fact that Lincoln has a silver running back and Ottawa doesn't. So Kenny Slider will be able to rely on the run game a lot more than Cyrus Jive will.
Mm-hmm. Johnny, do you have any thoughts on this matchup?
Pretty much the same thing as Derek. I was just kind of analyzing the rosters here, but yeah, I agree. The one advantage that Lincoln has is the silver running back, as well as, like I mentioned last week, they also I think it's a newcomer, but they also acquired an offensive lineman. So
Yep.
may not see it in the beginning, but once progression start happening midway through the season, I think that'll make a big difference for them. But as far as this game goes this week, I mean, it looks pretty competitive. The pure amount of players is crazy that Lincoln has over Ottawa, but looks like a good matchup. I think all in all, Lincoln probably has the advantage over Ottawa, but it'll be competitive.
Mm-hmm. And John, what's your take so far on this game?
I mean, I am a Lincoln original. Of course, I go with Lincoln, but you never know, though. I've seen a lot of SFL games go 2 different ways. It either can go Ottawa's way or go Lincoln's. You can't really count them out, but you also can't count out Lincoln's saw the roster a little bit here with the Logan Lee, and then you got looks like some good defensive players that might make a key impact in this season. But I'll have to go with Lincoln. Might take this one honestly.
Mhm.
That's my opinion. But Ottawa will put up a fight.
No, I think the looking at both of them for me the even though Lincoln has the full complement, 6 defensive backs, so they can go all the way out to the dime with no generics, versus the 5 for the nickel on the Ottawa side. But looking at the value of the players, the ability to have progressed, and like Terrence Pearson at gold as a cornerback matching up against Lottie Liu as a bronze. Might be a mismatch. Similarly, with Amar Bryant Jr. as a bronze matching up against Ricky Tullish, copper. I feel like the Kenny Slider has his work cut out for him. I think at QB there, but and then looking again similarly for Lincoln, they've got a pretty solid defensive back core, really full complement, really good broad ranges of who's in there. Um, but I think that's where like Gus Scott, thankfully, coming back as a two-way, so already has some of that experience, might be able to play out. See if the Cyrus Jive to Gus Scott connection can light up a little bit. I have a feeling that Ottawa is going to be a little tough to get their running game started a little bit, but I think that might be the difference there is who can do the better running.
Yeah, and this is week 1, so scouting's kind of out the window. And I did previously several weeks ago that if Ottawa's going to win games, it's going to be sneaking games through with defense. Their defense is good. They're going to sneak wins that way. This could be the week that they do it. Week 1, no scouting. They could sneak a win here.
Yeah, just like you were saying, and like Mike was saying, there's nothing to scout with. You're ultimately building, your playbook based on your strengths and what you assume the weaknesses are, but not knowing, how it is actually going to play out. So this is sort of the biggest dice roll week. And then scouting, gets going on as soon as those games are in the book. Friday night, I'm sure people will be jumping on those and starting to get those through. I know Madison's team will be, which is exciting. But speaking of Madison, we'll move on to that game. So that's Madison lining up against Annapolis. Here we see the connection or the breakdown side to side. Even number of players across both teams. We've got returning Xander Moon, returning Gene Struthers. Again, similarly returning on both sides, Marcus Duncan, Randy Squarebush. Big difference there between both style of running and progression level. I believe this might be Randy's 4th year as a minor leaguer, even though he's in a two-way right now. But I think this might be his 4th year. Yeah, Madison has the 2 wide receivers coming back on two-way, the only two-way that Madison has coming back. Matthew Alvarado was here last year, so they've been able to progress a little bit further there. Chet Maverick on the Madison side sort of starting to step up as that's cornerback number 1. On the other side, we've got sorry, before I go there, we have Orain Darby on two-way coming back. Orain being on Derek's team, the Mexico City over there at Silver now. There and then Reggio Dinero, counterpart to Young Vaught Cousins. We had them on before, so that was really exciting. And then we've got Tyson Thorne. That was which one of you had him as someone to watch?
That was me.
You okay? Awesome. And yeah, we've got Jerry D. Gond as coming back in his free safety role as well. Derek, we'll start with you. Tell me. I mean, it is your alma mater with the Navigators, but also then you're a little bit you're helping us out on the Lynx this season too.
Yep. Well, this will be a good show at how well Rennie Squarebush is going to be this year, and that's my biggest unknown this year is if with all of the two-way players, if Rennie Squarebush is still going to have the year he had last year. And I think and looking at Madison's roster, it looks like they're a team that as the year progresses with progressing, they're going to get better and better and better. I think it's tough that they're going up against Annapolis in the first game.
And not only first game, they're actually going to be the second or the last game, week 8 as well, bookending Madison's end season.
I honestly think there's a good chance that Annapolis takes this game and Madison takes the last game. Just the way and Madison's going to progress and improve as the season goes on.
Because that's the other thing too. I don't believe, and other people, if I don't know if Andrew Rustelli is in the chat or anything else, I don't think two-way contracts progress at all. So they are pretty much static. What they are right now is what they'll be at the end of the season. So both it could be seen as a benefit. You're bringing a lot of maybe higher bronze and or silver players back, but they're going to stay at that bronze, silver, and are not going to get better over time. And so that might mean less dynamicness or less progression, obviously, for teams that have a lot of returners like Lexington, or it could be a benefit in disguise for teams like Madison, who only have two ways coming back and the rest ability to rise through their ranks. I do want to also call out Tank Williams, fullback, brand new player on Madison as well, just a recent addition this week. No chance to progress yet because everything is frozen at the moment for roster lock in preparation for the games in 48 hours. But I'm excited about this game. It should be a fun game, and should be fun. Daniel, what's your thoughts on this game?
I hate to break the heart to the Madison Lynx who are here right now, but I mean it's gonna be tough. Like the Navigators' offense is still the offense of last year, pretty much, right? You got O'Rain Darby. You're replacing one with Reggio De Niro, who was money in the preseason game, who they played the Madison Lynx. So this is round 2 between cousins, I do believe. It's hard for me to say I'm choosing Madison, but with the way Navigators are, I have to lean Navigators' way. I know their offense is superb. Their defense, there's a few question marks, but Jared Egan come back in the free safety role is very good. They're set for now, but like Derek mentioned, progression-wise, the Lynx has more to gain for progression. Because once Ronnie Squarebus is at 112, he's staying at 112, right? He's never going away from that 112. Everyone else has a chance to catch up. And Derek made that great point, and I have to stand with that as well. I think Navigators win this one.
John, what is your thoughts?
I'm gonna have to go Madison, man. It's gonna be a tough battle, but I think Madison will pull out. But it's gonna be a battle. It's gonna be a tough grit fight. It's gonna be a defense wins type of game, honestly. Because if Madison's defense actually prevails through this game and holds Randy and Gene and their Darby as well, they can hold the game. They can win it possibly. So I'm leading my faith to Madison. Yes, Indianapolis got Squarebush, which honestly, if you keep him contained, he won't be a problem. But the problem is containing him. So they got that to worry about. We got Darby to worry about. You got Brothers to worry about. All the two ways to worry about. But their defense, it might go in Madison's favor, but you can never know for sure.
Mm-hmm. And that's actually very similar to how it was last season for Madison too. That they were relying very heavily on their defense to keep them in the game, and then the offense to just simply score enough to win out on that game. This one is a big toss up. Again, most of these with week 1, I gotta say I want the Madison Lynx to win. So that's where I'm gonna have to go because I can't pick anything else right now.
You'll be fired if we pick something else. We understand.
I'd mentioned Lexington before, so we'll jump there as well. So Lexington heads over to Tacoma to take on Tacoma. Let's see. So, I know Ethan Kai, he is super hungry. He's really excited about battling Madison again. Madison took them down out of the took away their championship from them last season. They've got Julio Usman coming in. They've got a really strong powerhouse there with Zachary Patton and Gears coming in. On the other side, we talked about this before. Tacoma has sort of a newer Bear Cuthbert a month ago or so was given the bear boot out the door with missing progressions, and Ty Patak took his place as soon as that was available. I'm really excited. Love the hunger from Ty. And we've got a good friend Shane Kaufman out there. Christopher Dean was a tight end, moved fullback. They have a brand new tight end, Christian Bakachalupi. Good, you know how to pronounce it. Bagels. Okay,
Bagels.
You know him from goals. I remember his. He was
I'm never
there.
gonna pronounce that last name. I just call him Bagels.
All right. Let's see. Also, Jalen Wells messaged me earlier today too that he'll be stepping in as offensive coordinator for the team. So they've got Zach Holdorf at defense, and now Jalen Wells at offense for Tacoma. I think a little bit of a rebuilding year. See what they can do. See how competitive they can be, and really trying to make as much as they can happen on the field for their players. And I think they're going to be ones that could be that wild card. Are they going to go big? Could they have breakout games, or are they going to play it safe? Not really sure. They might change things up a little bit in trying to find their ways, but that also makes them a little tougher to scout against. So, Derek, what are your thoughts on this team or this matchup?
I think it's gonna be a tough day for Tacoma. With a running back and a quarterback that are still copper and going up against that defense. Although I will say, going back to what I was saying earlier, is that with these two ways not progressing, I think Lexington Miners could start out strong and might struggle later on with other teams starting to catch up.
Mm-hmm. Daniel, what are your thoughts?
Another good point. I think we counted last week. I want to say there were 7 returning players for the Miners. I want to say
you are right. I almost don't have enough fingers to put them all up there.
But everyone knows that I'm like 70% maple syrup, but I also bleed Grizzlies, and I'm so sorry, Tacoma. This is gonna hurt. But remember, think long term. Think to the future. Think to your progressions.
Daniel,
Shane, I wish you the best of luck, buddy. This is gonna be hard. The Miners has the team to win it right now as we stand.
Daniel, do I have to make a graphic or something, or block out 30 minutes for a Grind My Gears segment next week?
I'm gonna give them the week off because they're facing the Miners.
Yeah,
they get a week off. Scouty, you never know what's gonna happen, but Grind My Gears may come in the future.
Okay. And John, what's your take on this matchup here?
Lordy, man, those Miners though, they got what it looks like Ty Woodson at silver CB. Same with you're hearing my kid.
That's okay.
Same with Forrest Dolan as defensive tackle, and they're both silver. Then you got the wide receiver Zachary Patton as a gold. Then you got their Usman too as silver, and then you got another wide receiver as silver. So that offense looks pretty dang stacked, dude. But like Derek was saying, I'm gonna have to go with them on this. They might, like Lexington and Indianapolis, they might be set in the beginning, but after everyone starts progressing and goes on through the season, like you said, it might bite them in the butt. It just might nip them in the butt at the end. Who knows? But Tacoma, man, you got Shane Kaufman at wide receiver as a gold. You guys are still young. I don't want to go for the underdog. I thought about it, but I'm gonna have to go with Lexington Miners coming out on this one. They look strong at the moment. So.
And yeah, I just have a couple of things to call out too. That Tina Queen in the preseason game over on the Grizzlies was a really good. She showed out 2 touchdowns. I'd like to say she might have a pretty good game, and if by chance, pairs up. So she'd be paired up against Dion Lane Burnett, I think is how that the rest of his last name, the CB2. So she might actually be a good matchup there so it could be that she gets more looks than Shane does, who's being covered by Ty Woodson. I know that Ty, silver Ty versus gold Shane might be. We can see maybe who might win that out, who might be getting, who might win that coverage battle, and see if Ty, the quarterback for the Grizzlies, could air it out. I was going to say so. The other person, Christian Pierce, we saw redeemed himself with one really long run in the preseason game. I feel like if he could harness what they did there and sort of capitalize on that same type of what worked well in that preseason game, and they were having a lot of, I think, issues in the preseason game with the generic playbook that was in there, with a lot of checkdowns or screen passes off to Christian Pierce, who was, when he was catching it, was 3 or 4 yards behind the line of scrimmage, which that defense swarmed on them and took them down. But they did, I believe, pull out the win as well. So I think this one, I think the Grizzlies might shine brighter than maybe what others, or brighter than what their roster might show right now. But I think that the Miners are just going to be an overpowering sun next to a star, if that makes sense. So that leaves one other game. So that leaves Albuquerque, the Adams, versus the San Jose Flight. As Mike talked about, Josh Williams is the head coach for Albuquerque. I believe Albuquerque has Aaron Alexander, who was the offensive coordinator, finally was starting to get some things worked out in how to use Douglas Brown last season. Towards the end of the season, I think they were working out some kinks and figuring out, how to get things working. Got a lot more of their team coming back. Obviously not Doug Brown, but Baloo Scott, we saw some decent output from him. I'd say more consistent output than Christian Pierce in the preseason game. They do have again a really stacked cornerbacks with Liam Ryan and Don Fletcher coming back on 2 ways. Similarly, they've got Dante Grimm in the backfield. I think that's going to be, he's out there setting up a graveyard for all the wide receivers in the back. On the opposite side, on the Flight, they're headed up with Art Vandelay, I believe, is involved over there. Jay-Z Bacon coming in. He was a very explosive finesse back, light on his feet and able to spin away like a washing machine. No, never mind. I was going to ask a question of you, Daniel, about your brother, but I don't. I remember the answer now. He was on the Ottawa Cavalry. Is what I was trying to remember. I thought maybe he was over here, but no.
No, he used to be in Ottawa. Now he's in the Revolution.
Okay.
I just want to point out we were 2-0 against them, but continue on.
A little plug there. Yeah, we've got DJ Bandit, who's Atlanta Swarm tight end coming in. We've heard of Adam Chance and KJ Alasho out there. Peter Warbonnet coming back at cornerback is a big thing for them. Sam Blotner from CHS as a 2-way coming in. Brian James, I think, I don't think he was drafted. I think he's a returning strong safety, but still a very strong player out there. A little bit bigger of a roster, obviously, 2 more players. They've got, both teams have kickers. Mickey is on the Adams, and then Ty Troja over on the Flight. It's been a while since we saw the Flight's preseason game, and I believe that was the first one against Ottawa, I want to say, back in the end of February. Gosh, how time's fly. But we get to see them all these 4 games, these 8 teams play in 48 hours. John, I want you to go first. What are your thoughts on this matchup here?
Well, honestly, I think the more players on the San Jose Flight might just help them secure the win, depending on if Albuquerque's defense can hold the offense. But it'll be a battle. Like, I think all these games are going to be a battle regardless of the way it looks. Maybe if I'm wrong. I might be wrong, but I'm going to go with San Jose Flight winning against the ATOMs just because of the pure fact, they might have Blanton at gold QB, but they really don't have as much key players to connect to like the San Jose Flight does with is that Sipe? Then
Yep.
you got Ura, Viper, then you got the Bandit at the tight end spot, which Adams don't have it. But I don't know. I could be wrong. It could go to Adams, but I'm gonna go for a San Jose Flight on this one.
Yeah, that's a good call. The Adams are missing a couple sort of key positions. So one of them being tight end, like you just said, and also outside linebacker. They currently don't have an outside linebacker to help contain. So they're both generics on both sides of that insider, that Mike middle player to contain JZ Bacon. It might be his game. They also don't have a defensive end, so they're, this might be a JZ Bacon's time to go around the edges and break away and force the cornerbacks to take him down. Derek, what is your take on this game?
This is the point where you have the sirens and I cue the game of the week. I think it's a pretty close game. The Flight has two more players, or is it one more? Two more.
Two more, I think.
Looks like. But the guys that Albuquerque has, I think, are really solid guys that are going to make a difference. So I think some of those guys make up for the player difference, and I think this is going to be a really close game. If I had to pick a winner here, I think I would give it to Albuquerque. I know a lot of people will probably be going San Jose with how many players they have, but I think Albuquerque can pull this off.
Mm-hmm. And Daniel, what is your take?
Derek, you're taking my job because I'm going to say this was the game of the week. So we're already thinking alike. So I'm going to take this to a bit of the preseason, right? Adams played, I believe, the Miners, right? If we're correct on this. And they only lost because they never got into the end zone. They had about 5 field goals to the Miners' touchdowns. That was generic playbooks. Now, with their coaching staff, they have Travis Blanton now for the 3rd year, so they should know what he's like, so know how he plays. So I'm thinking, even down 2 players, this offense is going to be explosive. Of course, they don't have Doug Brown. They have Blue Sky, so the running game is going to be a little weaker. But they just got to change the game plan now. It's now about the throwing game. And I think, even though I love Mickey, I think touchdowns is going to be a big factor in this game. And with the San Jose Flight, they did win against Ottawa, but they struggled a bit scoring the ball. There was a little struggle game going on until halfway through. And, of course, preseason means nothing. Generic playbooks. Anything can happen.
And it's been like a month and a half, almost 2 months of progressions that they could have gotten
Also
into.
true. But I'm going to lean the Adams way just based on the fact that all they needed to beat the Miners, which we said was already a stacked team, they could win it all, was the fact they couldn't get in the end zone. I think they get in the end zone in this game.
And I was just looking at the I didn't realize that Jax Nuke was in there too. So that makes the 4 starters, for cornerback, free safety, and strong safety, the exact same that were there for last season as well. And they were really a pretty solid core. They're used to playing together. Their coaches are used to using them. And I think they've just gotten bigger and better. Jax is not somebody who was drafted, so he's been able to progress this preseason as well and get better. So this one to me is anybody's game. Flip a coin and play another, Adams won. Let's replay the game and Flight win the next one. I feel that it's going to be a really close. And like you said, it probably might be a very exciting, entertaining game, the game of the week. I was going to ask that to you, Derek. You brought that for us. So we've got Derek and Daniel saying that this is the game of the week. I'm gonna say that this is exciting. This will be an exciting game. I think the game of the week for me is the Lexington Tacoma, because I want to see if Tacoma can play better than what their roster shows. What do they actually have? Is it going to be Hart that's pulling them towards the winning side, or is the Lexington hype real? Can they pull out and because we did see last season there was a game or two early on, and it might have been against Ottawa or someone, but Lexington had a very they got up in the first half of the game, and then they didn't score and allowed the other team to come in and overtake the rest of the game and ended up, I believe, with a loss.
I think that was the Ottawa comeback.
Oh, yep. So I was again. So we don't not really sure. We can, this is all speculation, obviously too. So, but I'm excited. I want to see what Tacoma can do. I want to see how dangerous Lexington actually is. For me, that's the game. That will be the game of the week. Is this Lexington and Tacoma game. John, what do you think is the game of the week?
I have a couple. It's tough because you're right. There's a Lexington hype going on, like a major Lexington hype. And then you got the San Jose and Albuquerque. Damn, man.
We've also got two other games, the Madison Annapolis or Lincoln Ottawa too.
What?
So
let me be the oddball. I'll go with Madison and Annapolis being the game of the week.
We'll see.
I'm gonna just throw that one out there.
Yeah, that's the other big question mark is how will Squarebush be able to be contained, or how dangerous will he be out there? How will the Annapolis Navigators? They have a new offensive coordinator with John Michael Sudduth. Is that right? I think I said his name. Ethan Muslin is his real name. I think he uses as a broadcaster kind of thing. I think he's doing the offensive coordinating over there. We'll see how well they can use that offense. And we've got myself and Jaden Swift, Jaden being the defensive coordinator for the Lynx, to see what he can put together. He's faced them before and we've beaten them before. We'll see if he can string together that same type of strong defense. Yeah, go for it.
I mean, Randy's going to be a problem, dude. In the beginning of the season, Randy's going to be a problem for any team. I'm just going to say that now. Like, did you see that preseason game? Like, come on. Like, him bulldozing people just left and right. He's going to be a problem until people catch up. Until the linebackers and defensive backs and the defensive tackles, defensive ends pick up the builds and match to stop him. He's going to be a problem.
Absolutely true. And paired with Gene Struthers and Darby out there in De Niro, that offense has great potential, definitely. John, will I have you here? Do you have any standout players you think might be maybe other than yourself? Are there any standout players you think are going to have a really great game this Friday?
Let's see. If you want me to go through all the teams or just one of them.
In any team in the minor league, right, or any player in the minor league right now. If you think there's one.
I think I have a couple that I think might just really stand out. If you really want to think about those duo DB, who is this from? The duo, the girls and
Lincoln.
They might stand out. They're gonna stand out. Was it Custer, Frankie Custer, and Skippy Curtis? They could be standout players, as well as, let's go with I'm not gonna include myself because I'm not gonna be biased like that, but let's go with Tacoma. I think honestly, if I don't know how to say his name, if Ty Tack, did I say Ty Tack?
That works.
I feel like P silent. Is the P silent? I don't know.
It might be like pterodactyl.
Like, is it Ty-Tac? I think if he keeps up his build, he might be a lethal as well. But that's just what I think so far.
Cool.
Oh, it's Patak? Okay.
And Derek, do you have any individuals, whether that's 1, 2, or 3, that you might think have a standout game this Friday?
Well, so since I've been so mean to Tacoma today, I think that Tacoma's probably been playing from behind most of the game. I think Shane Kaufman might have a big game because they might be throwing it a lot, and he's going to be that number 1 target there, I think.
Cool.
So I could see him going for 102 touchdowns.
And as a new quarterback, if Shane gets 5 or 7 yards outside of coverage and he just flings it, that could just be all that they need for a long run down the field. Daniel, do you have any 1, 2, or 3 different players that you think are going to be have a shining star?
Well, I'm going to slam Grizzly some more, I guess, since everybody else is going on their side. Jaleel Usman, I had him as a player, my player to watch. He's going to do really well, so I'm not going to take too much time and talk about him. I'm going to talk more about, let me see if I can see the game. The Lincoln Ottawa game, I'm going to go right to TJ Frosty. I think he's going to have a really good game. He's one of the better free safeties in the league as it stands right now in the minor league. And with the way the teams are stacking up, Kenny Slater is going to be thrown to Lottie Lou and Ricky Tulsa, but it's going to be a majority of Lottie Lou when they don't run it with Logan Lee. Logan Lee's had a good game. He's going to do well, I think, in this as well. But it's kind of cheating if I say a running back all the time. So I'm gonna go on the defensive end. I think TJ Frosty is gonna get a pick. I think he's gonna have a good game. I think he's gonna show out. And I think Ottawa can sneak a win. And if they do, it's gonna be at the hands of this defensive back, right? These guys will be the reason why they win. It could be anyone's game week 1.
So I'm going to pick 2 people for myself. My pick for the week is going to be, or not pick, my people to watch out for me is Isabella Blackwell. I played with her same side of the ball over at San Diego Mavericks. We helped her with her build, figuring out getting her to be a really strong safety. She has all the stuff to be a great legend to come. And I think she's going to probably I think she could get 2 picks and a lot of tackles. I think she's going to be one to watch out for. She's going to have she's going to ball out there. And then my other pick that I'm going to do is on Madison, and that's going to be, well, I guess maybe it's 2. I feel like Jobu McSlim and Mike Mello are going to have a really good.
Love that name.
I think they're going to get at least 1 sack each, if not maybe one of them might end up getting 2 sacks on Gene Struthers. Is what I'd like to think. So that's sort of my picks. Take it or leave it, but yeah, cool. Well, I'm excited. Are you guys excited about the games to actually start and things?
My God, it's been so long. I'm ready for the actual minor leagues, and it's going minor leagues into the playoffs. Oh, this is a great week and weekend for football. Thank you, Lord.
All right, cool. Any final words? I mean, that's sort of our show. We had Mike on earlier in the beginning talking about head coaching, talking about Lincoln, and then we just went through these four teams, or 4 games, 8 teams. There we go. Get that right. Some of our picks over which teams we might think game of the week, which teams we think might win, and then some of our individual player standouts that we hope to do really well out there. Derek, any final words from you at all?
Well, you know what the worst part about this whole thing is I'll be on Friday. I'll be in a car driving to Illinois for a wedding.
Oh,
so I'm hoping that I'll be able to see as much as I can. So it's kind of a bummer that the first week, but no, I'm excited. I'm really excited to see these games. If it's live or later, I'll be watching them.
Yeah, thankfully they're recorded. You can always tune in later. So
just tell Angela to cover for you while you have your phone going. That's all.
Take the wheel, honey. I'm watching. Cool.
Tell her to
drive. John, any last words from you at all?
I mean, I'm excited to see all these players get on the field. They're antsy, they're excited, they're hyped. I think everyone's really hyped, honestly, especially seeing the playoffs this year, see how everything's going, just for the pros as well. Honestly, I just hope everyone stays happy and positive. Beautiful souls.
Awesome.
That's it.
As always, John. And Daniel, I don't know if I gave you the actual official last words, or do you want to take it away?
I can take it away. I'll say something else. I'm going to harp on what Mike Ahl said. Win or lose, stick with it, guys, in the minor leagues, okay? Stick with it. Build your connections. Build your community. Build your friends. Look at all the people here. John Reno, we met in Tacoma. Axel, we met in Tacoma. We become good buds. St. Kaufman's good buds. We have Cody Griffin I talk to every now and again on Queen City. We make these connections in the minor leagues. Derek, last season, was a guest on our show. We've hit it off. We made a connection. He's in my DMs all the time, especially on draft nights. But we make these connections, and that is the big thing about this. You make your connections, make your friends. This week, you guys might suffer a bad loss, you might suffer a close loss. If you lose, stick with it. Don't give up. That's all I have to say.
Other tip I'd love to add, Michael Percoco in the Madison locker room just shared a little thing like that. There's for one, Rochelle will be calling our game, so she's a co-owner over in Los Angeles. So watch what you're saying in the chat. If you're getting upset, if you're frustrated at what's going on in the play, it might not be the best thing to start swearing and other things. So maybe go to your locker room and do that, or DM one of your players on your team and do that. Try to put a good faith forward. Be good teammates, good community representatives. You're out there representing more than just you and your player, but your team, the minor leagues, SFL in general, for those new players that might be, or new viewers that might be watching. So be good to each other. Give people the positive intent, and as John always says, be positive. So, anyways, so with that, it's not over till it reaches three zeros, and it's the time's out here. There's no overtime, so we're gonna take it off the air now. Thank you all for joining us. I appreciate everyone's support, everyone coming out here. Love all the everybody here in the room. Daniel, Derek, Johnny had to go. I think I heard his one of his kids, so he bolted quick. No worries. John, thank you for joining us. Look forward to having you on more.
He might have came back.
Oh, did he?
I see him in our lobby of our
voice
chat where we can see our pictures.
He's been there, bro.
He's been there, but no, picture wise, he came back.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know what happened, guys. My computer screen got knocked down, but I see you guys in here, but I'm not on the actual platform. So
gotcha.
I apologize.
No worries. I think when you leave the video thing and come in new, it doesn't maintain that same link, which is what I put it to here. Sense. I didn't even know you were in here, so I apologize, Johnny.
No, you're okay, man.
Feel free next time. Just say, "Hey, I'm back." Excellent. No worries.
Why you never asked for my feedback, but now I realize why. So again, I apologize.
No worries. Easy to raise your vocal hand. So, all right. Well, thanks everyone again for joining us. This wraps up episode 5, and we look forward to seeing you guys all in the chats. YouTube, it says up there, SFL YouTube channel Friday nights. They are 7 and 7:20 and 9 and 9:20 all Eastern time. So that's sort of the time to be watching on Friday nights. So, all right. Good night, everyone.
See you later.